Well, okay, we'll recap. Squarespace is our sponsor. They're awesome. If you want a Squarespace portfolio, go to squarespace.com/Tony. Use
Photo
the
News
coupon
is the
code
coupon
PHOTONEWS
code.
for 10% off after your free 14-day trial. We'll look at a couple of portfolios at scp.io/link. If you're a man, communicate with us, hashtag TC Live, or write a comment.
This week, black and white photos.
Only men this week. Go to northrup.photos/submit one photo, only during the live show. Next week,
That guy.
street photography.
Now, this is where we just left off. When does it stop being photography? I put up a video called How to Photoshop Clouds into Your Picture, and people thought that was the right time to say they didn't like Photoshop. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so you can see I put in a various hierarchy of options here. So starting from the most aggressive to the least aggressive.
When you shoot digital instead of film.
Because some people don't consider it photography if it's digital, because film is something physical. Then there are people who think if you use anything but a normal lens, a 50-millimeter lens, then it stops being true photography because telephoto lenses distort things, wide-angle lenses distort things, and that's too false for them.
Wow.
So I think there are a lot of people who are snobby about Photoshop, but you don't realize there are people actually snobbier about photography than you.
I actually do know
50-millimeter film users are out there, and they think that's the only way to do photography. Some people think putting filters, like a polarizing filter or a grad ND filter, alters the light coming into the camera artificially and therefore distorts it too much. Even light post-processing like cropping or dodging or burning, things Ansel Adams did all the time. A lot of people think that's way too far.
Can't argue with him.
And then we have various levels of actual like photoshopping and post-processing. Just let us know what you're comfortable with, where you draw the line.
This bums me out so much, just putting limits on art. And I also feel like so many people are like, look, it's not photography when you do something I don't do. That's what it sounds like to me a lot, but we'll hear what our viewers have to say.
Yeah, I also find that people tend to change their tune once they get comfortable with a particular platform. So some people think adding artificial lights is bad and they're only a natural light photographer, but when you get into it, they've never really spent time with artificial lights. Maybe they just don't have the right skill set. And I know that will immediately enrage people who are like, I hate Photoshop and I use Photoshop version 2.0 in 1984
Yeah.
on an Emacs. Some photo news while you're sending your photos in. Tamron announced a couple of primes. Tamron's trying to go upscale. They're trying to compete with the Sigma art lenses. So they released a couple of pretty expensive prime lenses, 35mm and 45mm f1.8 lenses. Nobody has tested these yet, but everybody's raving about them.
Why are they raving about them if they haven't been tested?
I don't know.
That
I'm kind of suspicious.
Me much.
Tamron
Remember that song?
has some marketing
That was
tactics
Siobhan's
that I'm
favorite
not a
song
fan of.
in middle school and high school.
Would you like to go ahead and perform the rest of it? Maybe you and Siobhan could do a
Don't
duet?
you ever say that about me again.
Them's the fighting words.
Anyway, these ring in at $600, and they're not that fast at f1.8. You might have expected them to be f1.4.
I did.
Something a little bit faster. They've apparently put a prettier finish on them, though to me they're not the prettiest of lenses. We will probably not be testing these because Tamron does not allow, they do not provide loaners for people who will compare their lenses to other lenses. They will only provide loaners to those people who will review them independently and say they're great. So they're kind of ruling out the more fair
Yeah, they're not
testers out
fair.
there.
Well, really, nobody is. You know what, Tony? All's fair in love, war, and business. That's what I've learned.
It seems like that's the case.
What's this?
This is pretty cool. It's a 360 camera, but to appreciate what it can do, I have to open up this video here and actually play it. So they stuck this new Theta S from Ricoh.
Oh, a
They stuck this
360 potato.
on a drone, and so it makes these 360 videos that you can put on YouTube and then just pan around. You can see my cursor here. So like there's
What?
the drone carrying it.
What? You're moving that?
Yeah, it's true 360. You can use it,
What?
move it with your mouse and just
Holy.
pan
What's over
around.
here? Oh, nothing. Wow. This is crazy.
It is really cool, isn't it? So
This
you
is
wouldn't
gonna
necessarily
really change my pornography business. Oh, don't know what to say after that one, do ya?
Anyway, it's only like $350,
Okay.
but I thought it was just terribly cool.
Are we
that
gonna
you can
get it?
interact with it.
Maybe they'll send us one.
Yeah, maybe.
What is it, hanging from a string?
Something like that. I don't know how exactly they did that. So check that out.
Tony, that was a dope slide you provided.
You can get it at scp.io/theta-s. Not that much. It's also now, they had a previous version, which just
Yeah.
wasn't as sharp.
Yeah.
And this one you can also like live stream from it because it just works with HDMI out.
Whoa.
Wouldn't it be cool if we could live stream in 360 and people could pan around? I don't know. It would just be cool. It would not be practical in any way.
No, too much work.
Siobhan, have you had a chance to screen any photos yet?
She did.
Yes.
Okay. Let's
it
take a look
go?
at them.
What's happened? Oh, okay.
Yeah, there
How
are a
was
lot
it?
of photos in
Yeah.
here. Great. We'll come back with some more photo news in just a bit. Portfolios, reader comments today.
I'm gonna get out my mouse because I got
Let me
work.
jump into the develop module here. We use Lightroom. Some people aren't familiar with it, but just a good photo editing app. It allows for quick edits. I feel like all the detail here is lost. Don't you want to see his face a little bit
I
more?
want to see his face.
Yeah. So I'm just going to raise the shadows.
Well, I was actually gonna dodge it.
Oh, you want to do it a little more selectively?
Yeah, because I like all of these deep shadows. So I would actually go in and just do a little bit of this. You know.
Chelsea's using an adjustment brush with the exposure that will just raise
Yeah, we gotta
the
put
brightness
our
in
flow
a
up.
small part of the picture. This is something Ansel Adams did all the time. It was very popular in the film and darkroom era.
Everybody did
Just
it.
providing some history for various aspects of photo editing.
Now we have to defend ourselves for all the people that are too lazy to edit, so they say it's not photography.
Yeah, that's good. We have a book on Lightroom if anybody wants to check it out at scp.io/store. Just Tony Northrup's Lightroom book. Good. So I think that helped a lot because the subject here was almost completely lost in shadow. And the bright wall in the background has so much visual weight that to me it just took the attention from his eyes, which is where we should be looking.
Still, I like it. Oh, wait, go back.
You going? Okay.
Right.
Okay. I feel like it needs a subject, and it seems like you could have just hung out there and a car would have come up. And to me, that would have made it so much more compelling.
I like it. I do like it like this. I think the one thing, this is the subject, and the reason why it doesn't feel like it is because I think they just needed a little bit more space at the bottom for that leading line to it. Like right now, there's no build up visually. It's just like, bam. Your eye just lands on it and doesn't really move around because there aren't leading lines. So if this line had been longer and you had to work a little bit to get to that payoff, I think it would feel more balanced.
Yeah, I think you're right. Good suggestion.
This is a little bit flat to me, and this is why. Do you see the clouds right here where they should be white? They're gray. So you want to go in and you want to make sure that you have whites in your photo.
She's holding down the Alt key as she drags the white slider there, and it will highlight any parts of the picture that are totally bright. And you always need a white spot and a black spot.
Yes.
Just almost always. So right away, this is a huge difference.
Let's bump up the contrast. A little
Yeah, clarity increases local
just a
contrast.
If you put in too much clarity, then you get that cheesy, over-edited look. Just
yeah,
a
but
just,
a little can really help a lot. So yeah, just hit Y to look at the before and after, and
and if you're working from the color version, so you could go in.
sorry, I just wanted to. No, that's not what I want.
But I didn't really tell you what I liked about the photo, and I think you had a good composition. What's happening?
Go ahead.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
You just have to zoom out. I like their composition. I like that they put something in the foreground, so there was some depth in the photo. And you have the original version, so I would go into this color panel here, and you could lower the blues. I don't have the blues in here because you gave it to me black and white, obviously. But if you lowered the blues, then you would deepen this here. And I can kind of show you a little bit how to do that, just to give you an idea. I'll add a gradient filter.
I'll say this was a technique that film photographers used a lot. They would actually put a filter on their lens, like a red filter or a blue filter, to change what the final result was going to be, how the brightness of various colors.
So you can just see that brought out the clouds even more, and you would get even more definition if you had your color version and you lowered that luminance. Or you go into the black and white and it will bring up all the colors for you.
Yeah, that made a huge difference. Great edits. And a good original picture.
This is interesting.
I like this a lot. Very unconventional in that it's just tar lines in the street, but I find the lines really interesting. I think the contrast in it's perfect.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
I like it. It's an abstract picture, but it's good.
Ooh, this is interesting too.
Yeah, it has some powerful lines in it, and there's a lot of geometry. It feels like it's tilted to the right just a little bit, so I might straighten it, but then again, my eye doesn't rest anywhere. I feel like it needs a focal point. We have these powerful lines from the train tracks leading us to this apex right here, but then there's no payoff. So if there was something there, if there was a train there or something, I don't know. I just feel like it would be more payoff.
Still interesting.
It is interesting, yeah.
Oh, they showed the color. Oh, I told them if they submitted both, we would tell them which we liked better. And is this spot color?
Yeah, it's definitely not.
It's not full
Like
black
try
and white.
switching it to black and white, and I think we'll get. Yeah,
Yeah.
they did leave in a little bit of color, but I definitely think it works better in black and white.
I like it in black and white.
Yeah, it's really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great shot. I'm giving that one a pick.
Yeah, I love it. Good job. Well, this is interesting. I'm gonna give this 5 stars. I love it. It's different.
Yeah, I love just seeing different things, and this is a really interesting view in a commonplace object, and it shows you don't have to be in Machu Picchu to get a great picture.
Yeah,
You
it's a
can-
commonplace object, but it has great lighting.
Mhm.
Look at how the letters are caught here, and it's really nice.
Yeah, that sort of side lighting shows a lot of texture. If it had been just front lighting, you wouldn't have seen that detail.
Yeah, interesting angle, interesting light. It made all the difference. This is really interesting too, but I do think it looks a little flat, and I can see that you went for a matte effect, which I actually think is interesting, but I just want to try bumping up the contrast, bringing down those blacks
Drop
a
the
little
blacks.
bit.
Yeah, I think I
Getting
like the original look to it. My only beef, I love the mist on the lens.
Yeah.
My only beef is that they focused on these sticks in the foreground, and because they are the sharpest part of the picture, they carry a lot of visual weight, and so that's where your eye goes, and it's just not the payoff. So I would like to see those out of focus too,
And have this in.
or maybe that have that main part of the picture be in focus, but just too much visual weight. You could blur it out a little bit.
Yeah,
in
but really
Photoshop, and
interesting.
that would help it.
Whoa, I love this picture.
Yeah, that is very cool.
I'm gonna give this 5 stars and a pick.
Yeah, that's immediately compelling. You just want to explore it a little bit. It's uncommon and interesting, and I don't know exactly how they got the
I just want to see.
background so black, but oh, there's a little bit of detail in there.
So-
They might have even adjusted the channel, like maybe the background is
Yeah, it
all
was
green
blue.
or
Yeah.
something, and
That's very cool. I love that picture.
yeah, fantastic.
Very interesting. Again, I don't think there are whites in this picture. Actually, gonna bring up the entire exposure.
Yeah, the number one problem we see with black and white photos is just no black point, no white point. Almost always happens when you just convert something from color. You always have to go in and tweak it a little bit. There's a whole section in Stunning Digital Photography Chapter 3 that shows how to really process black and white photos and a video too.
Now, if you look at, you can actually look at old photographs from very well-known photographers like Avedon, and you'll see, oh, I have one later actually in the slides. You can see where they map out every place that they want to dodge and burn. And on this picture, I'll let you finish what you're doing. On this picture, what I think is really interesting and really beautiful is these highlights on the rocks and these highlights here. And that's the subject of the photo, this light, how it's sweeping across the photo. So I would go in and I would take the time and I would bring all of those out and I would dodge it and I would accentuate just kind of how beautiful the light is.
That's a great idea. I also want to point out that the photographer really used the haze well, so you can see those distant mountains are just flatter. They're not as contrasty, and that visually shows a lot of depth just because of the atmospheric conditions blocking a little bit of the light, but it works really well.
Oh,
A lot of depth in this photo.
Yeah, I'm doing a sloppy job, but that is something that will pay off. So you can see here the rocks look flat. These beautiful clouds here, which have the most light, look flat. And then when you bring it up, you get this light, you get this sheen on the water that's a leading line bringing you to these rocks, which are really kind of the focal point.
I added a graduated filter starting at the bottom that raised the
brighten it
exposure
up.
of the rocks. Yeah, it's just like using a grad ND filter, graduated
I
neutral
love that
density
though.
filter on
I'm
their
going to give
lens.
them 5 stars.
Yeah, it was a great shot.
Oops. What did I do? Okay. Good one.
Sorry, fighting over the keyboard. The Goodyear
Another one.
blend-
This
yeah,
is my
another
biggest
picture that's
lesson
just
in
flat.
black and white photography. Make sure you have a white point and a black point. I did not make this up. This is like photography class 101. You want that in your pictures. You need that dynamic range. So let's get that.
Yeah, and in particular here, we don't care so much about the sky. We care about the subject here. We want to retain the detail in the clouds, but we really need more contrast in the blimp itself. So yeah, you're gonna have to adjust for that. Having the original color photo would make it easier to bring down the sky to kind of match the exposure, but you can see how much more the shape conveys by adding the contrast to it. It's just more clearly the subject.
And just
What's the focus point too? I'm not sure where it is, but the blimp overall seems a little bit out of focus. Yeah, so she's just going and kind of manually selecting the sky to show how you could bring it down a little bit.
yeah, I'm doing a sloppy job, but if you did it carefully, then you'd bring out all of these nice clouds.
I also don't know why you would be at f36 for that. I would have stuck with like f8. Maybe there's no reason to be at f36. High f-stop numbers like that actually reduce your sharpness because of diffraction. So unless you need it,
I've learned that the hard way.
F-stop numbers.
This is an interesting photo. Is it raining?
It is raining, yeah, and rain is really hard to capture in photography, and even at a glance, we didn't immediately see it. You might actually have to go into the shadows there and increase the contrast so you could see it a little bit. With rain, what I always end up doing is adjusting the shutter speed. And so I'll take a shot at, 1/250th, 1/100th, 1/30th, 1/15th, and just see where it conveys the best, because if you're too fast, they appear as droplets and they completely disappear. If you're too slow, they appear as really long lines and they completely disappear. So there's always some sweet spot. They found it at 1/160th there. Where the sweet spot is depends on the magnification, how close you are to the rain, how telephoto you are.
I like the story that this photo tells too.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a ruined play day.
But I think your edits helped it out a lot because the rain just conveys much more clearly.
Oh, this is nice.
The silhouette. I like that a lot. It's a great silhouette. Pretty good shape to it too. It's real clear. It's so close to symmetrical. I might want to crop it so it becomes truly symmetrical. It's just slightly off the balance is just barely off.
I'm looking at it from the side, so it's a little.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's a great shot. I'm giving that one a pick.
These dudes.
Yeah, and right away we see this shot looks a little bit flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we need to up the contrast some. Yeah.
You can see smoke here. Look at that.
Yeah, lots of detail in there too. It's a great shot.
I know. Again, I would bring this out, and of course I'm going to do a sloppy job because I don't have all day to work on this, but that's an interesting part of the shot, so I would bring that out.
Yeah, Chapter 3 in Stunning Digital Photography covers visual weight as a compositional element. One of the biggest factors in visual weight is contrast between the subject and the background. So the background there is dark, and you're providing much more visual weight to the smoke by making it bright. It'll pop against the background more. And yeah, now it's the first thing you see. So right away, see how those edits just made the smoke just really pop and just help tell the story much better. It was kind of lost in the background before. Let's pop back to our slideshow and cover a little bit more photo news. I saw a couple people covering this website called Scoop Shot.
What is this? Poop shoot.
Their tagline is, well, everyone's private photographer. They say they're trying to be the Uber of photography, which I don't understand how that would work at all, because the whole thing about Uber is it's spontaneous. You just get it immediately.
So I'd be like, I look fabulous right now, and then a photographer would show up and take pictures of me?
That's what I thought when they said the Uber of photography, and that's not what it is at all. It's just a website where you can put up your portfolio and the skills you have, and somebody could search for you.
That's not like Uber at all.
No, it doesn't seem to have any. There's nothing about it.
How
that's
is it like Uber?
No, it's not.
I don't like this.
Anyway, this is Yuri, our cruise stock company. Can
Oh
never say his
no,
last
now
name.
I feel terrible because I love him.
We do, and they stopped being a stock company and
Really?
decided to become this. So I do not know the backstory about what happened to the stock business.
I've been trying to get Yuri on the show.
Yeah,
and
he's one of our favorite photographers.
He
stock photographer,
responded
Yuri,
to
our
me,
cruise.
but I mean, I won't say what he said in the email because I don't know if he's like a private kind of guy. But yeah, I don't know what the deal is. I've got to talk to him again and try to get him on here.
Anyway, don't sign up for Scoop Shot just yet, even if you're looking for pro work. It's new, it's kind of in beta, and I went ahead and made a profile, and they have to approve. They have to like look at your portfolio and make sure you're worthy. So I'm going through that process. We'll see. This is just the portfolio I said. We'll just see if it's worthwhile, and I'll check back in next week.
50 cameras.
Yeah.
That sounds like the title of my biography.
Yeah, this is
A
what my
woman's
desk looks
spiral
like right
into
now.
madness. 50 cameras. How a wife went mad.
These light painting photographers set up 50 copies of the Olympus EM10, that little cool Olympus that we love. 50 of them in a row to kind of do the bullet time matrixy thing.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's very cool. So I just thought their effort was awesome, and I kind of wanted to show it off. You can see the URL there if you want more information about it. It's cool.
It is. 50 cameras.
Yeah, so it kind of provides a 3D effect to light painting, which isn't something I've ever seen before. I will also cover Panasonic released a $100 optional update for the GH4 that allows you to capture greater dynamic range, so you could show more detail on the skies and shadows.
You have to pay for it?
Yeah, it's.
Why don't they just make their camera good enough to do that?
Well, I guess they feel like if they were to do that, it would be worth more. So it goes from being about 12 stops of dynamic range now to 14 stops, which makes it compete with the Sony, like the A7S. And it's good. I don't really have much of a gripe with them charging $100 for it. It'd be great if it were free. But look at this is the process for installing the update. First you pay for it, and then you get a software key. Then you have to update the firmware on your camera using an SD card. Then you export your serial number from the camera to the SD card. Then you take that SD card and you upload it with your serial number, your software key, to the website, and then they issue you a file that you put back on the SD card, and then you put it back in your camera. This is a camera with Wi-Fi. Why can't it just connect to the... It should just be able to connect.
I don't...
Just do it all automatically, right?
That seems crazy, making someone pay for an update like that. You don't... We disagree. You think it's okay. I think it's ridiculous. That's like if we put out another chapter of our book. Oh, I guess people do that. They make people pay. Never mind. We're too generous. I'll start charging more.
Let's look at a Squarespace portfolio. This is John Paul Benedict's portfolio, Captured Moments.
The fanciest name.
He's watching live. I have no idea. I've not seen this before, so we're going into this blind. So it looks like he does nature photography. It's what?
Pac-Man? Justin's dog?
Looks like Justin's dog. It's a greyhound. It looks actually it looks a lot like Pac. Even the eyes.
I know.
It's uncanny.
I know. Okay, let's...
This photo's a little bit blurry.
Yeah,
And
I would get that one out of there.
Yeah, it's just
You
not
have
ready.
Great composition, but it's
Yeah.
not clear. This is nice and clear.
Yeah, it is.
I took over. Oh,
Oh, that's really cute. Oh, that's a great shot. That's a mockingbird. Cedar waxwing.
Waxwing.
Beautiful.
this one's also not completely clear.
Yeah,
Oh, this one's really nice. So you don't need the other one. You have a clear shot.
right, but look at the histogram on that one. Brighten it up.
Oh.
Yeah, at first I thought, well, maybe he just doesn't have enough shots to fill out his, so that's why I put a blurry shot on there. But
Yeah.
we're seeing a lot of good shots in here.
Yeah, he's got some repeats. So take out the repeats.
Yeah, no eye contact on that, so it's cool with the flight, but
So this is your best
that's
one.
the best one.
Take out
Get
every
out
other
all the
shot.
other red-tailed hawks.
Yes. Because people are going to remember your
Get rid of that
worst
one.
shot. They're going to remember your blurry shot and they think, whoa, that shot's really blurry. And then your blurry photo guy. Don't let them do that to you, John.
Don't be blurry photo
Don't
guy.
be blurry. Don't you let them do that. You keep the sharp one, get rid of the rest.
That's literally the same shot more than once.
Yeah.
This shot has no eye contact, so
I mean,
we got to thin this out. It's a
This
cute shot of
one's
a squirrel.
Cute.
Oh, that's a cool shot.
So I would just use your best deer photo also. You don't need so many deer pictures. This one has really beautiful light.
Yeah, that one is really nice. That one's just a little too grainy and blurry.
Ooh, black vulture.
Yeah.
Warbler.
Oh, yeah, also a little blurry. Beautiful bird, but
Okay.
good tight shot
So
of a
we
deer.
have some redundant species, some very similar pictures. So try to have
Need to zoom in more.
one photo of every species.
Yeah, that's a general rule. One photo per species, and we limit it to 15 pictures in any set. So this is just already too many pictures. We've
Yeah.
like run out of steam.
Yeah. I'm running out
And-
of steam. Let's scroll down and see what's going on here.
Yeah, so
Whoa.
there's plenty of thinning you can do. Pick your best deer picture, your best white-tailed. That is pretty cute.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang, they're cute. Cute little garden ruiners. I would crop this down, and I think that's your deer shot.
Oh, really? Those other baby shots are pretty cute too.
All right.
Here's John Benedict.
Oh.
Oh, his best friend.
Even his dog has a fancy name.
Good. So I think you have a good portfolio
Yeah.
there. I would just thin it out a little bit.
He has
Remember to
some
start
great
with your
photos.
strongest photo and end with your second best photo and keep it at 15 photos. Here is what John had to say. He started photography in high school and then he was a photographer in the Navy. More info on his website. Okay,
Cool.
let's look at Nate
I like
Dooley's website, also hosted by Squarespace. Nice full screen interface.
Yeah, you like that.
I do. That's a nice shot. Might even up the contrast in it a little bit. Here we
Lovely.
have a
Great
landscape
light.
photo, cat photo.
Toothless.
This photo doesn't grab me in any way. Okay, that was just 4
I'm going to
photos.
grab you.
Okay.
Portraits?
That is a really cute shot.
That dog is photogenic.
This could use a little contrast too. Check that histogram, kind of what we've been showing you today. I think we have some really good portraits here. This is a really strong portrait, I think. I love the snow in the background. That almost is selfie-ish. Let's jump.
But they put their strongest photo first, so that was good. Good move. You've got some good landscapes. Nothing too repetitive. That's nice.
Oh, that's a really nice shot. This might even be the cover shot for it. So I think,
I like their cut. I like this one.
yeah, I like that one too. It's got good contrast to it. I want to suggest to Nate that we use one category for now. The landing page you had, I think, 4 different shots. I would put all your best shots in there, thin it out a little bit, keep it to 10 to 15 pictures, make that your portfolio across different categories. So, put some pets in there, put some portraits in
Yeah,
there, put
'cause
some landscapes
I
in
like
there.
this one of Toothless. And this one I think is really good.
Yeah, it's a nice and thoughtful picture. We
like
just need to
this one.
thin it out a little bit, combine those different categories. Remember, people won't dig this deep into your portfolio generally.
Yeah.
They'll look at the front page, get rid of those categories. Let's see what Nate has on his About Me page. He's in Tennessee.
Nice. I love all
Yearbook
of these
staff,
young
awesome.
people that start so early and they're so talented.
Oh, I know. I'm so
It's fun.
jealous. I wish I could have started photography when I was younger. Here's what Nate had to say about... Nate didn't say anything about
Nate.
Squarespace.
Hey, Nate, what the heck?
But if you want your own Squarespace portfolio...
I think Nate would say, if I were Nate,
Yeah.
I would say, Boy, that sure was easy. I love it. I love Squarespace.
Squarespace is easy and a great value at under $10 a month, especially if you sign in you visit using squarespace.com/Tony and use the coupon code PhotoNews. We don't get any extra money from it. It just lets them know that you heard about them from us.
Yeah.
So please do that if you want your photos to look great. Very easy to set up a website. You do not have to be a nerd at all. Thank you,
Could also
Squarespace,
be a
for
nerd.
sponsoring us. Yeah, I'm a nerd, and I use them for my portfolio. You want to take a look at some comments? Some reader
Chit-chat.
comments. This is Chit Chat.
This is Chit Chat, that part of the show where we read your comments and then we also comment. Jim Setzer. Isn't that a band, the Jim Setzer Band? Oh, that's the Brian Setzer Band. Hugo, you have to wait until the show goes live to submit, or your image will be deleted by the soup Nazi, Siobhan. What? The soup? Siobhan, can we get your reaction?
As I said to Justin, there is nothing I like less than having anything compared to Nazis. But then you guys pointed out that I was being compared to the soup Nazi, who was probably not a real Nazi. And I'll accept that.
Probably.
Probably not. How would we know what he was doing in the 40s?
That's
There's
what
no
I
way to
said. There was
know.
probably a never aired Seinfeld episode. So,
The terrible things he did with soup.
Matthew, well done, Tony, for creating a new euphemism. Whack the tripod. Also, Chelsea, when you take a picture of Tony, do you expose for his face or his hair? That's actually a really good question because I have trouble exposing your hair sometimes.
I need to spend less time in the sun.
Well, you got really brown this summer.
Yeah, my skin just gets real brown.
You're a brown man.
And my hair just keeps getting whiter.
I
Yeah,
know.
at some point we're gonna need that extra dynamic range on the GH4 just to capture me on film.
Very cool. If you think about it, the stars are spinning and not the Earth. If the Earth was spinning, the only place you could film that is the North Pole. And Tony, you commented the Earth spins.
The
Tony,
Earth spins.
Did you think about it though?
Yes, and the Earth spins. I've come to the conclusion, I say with some confidence, that the Earth spins.
How could it spin if it's flat?
The Earth is not flat, it spins.
Justin, what was that awesome video you sent me about conspiracy theories?
Oh, that was it's a YouTube channel, and I have some German name like Garden, but it's also just called
Zeitgeist?
Nutshell. Nutshell. It's a great channel.
Yeah, because a viewer was very, very upset with you, Siobhan, because you said something bad about conspiracy theorists, which nobody knows that your husband is the most wonderful conspiracy theorist of all.
Oh no, now people are going to be looking for him.
But yeah, like, whatever, we're not against conspiracy theories, but it's cool when they're like somewhat real seeming. Anyway. These are our poll results. When you shoot digital instead of film, 2 people think that. When you use something other than a 50mm lens, 1 person thinks that.
We have that guy in there, the guy who only uses 50mm lens. I guess there's one in our audience.
There's one. They're rare. When you do a heavy post-processing such as HDR or skin retouching, HDR, but your eyes have better dynamic range than a camera. So HDR could be more realistic than... Okay.
Yeah, I often make that argument. Sometimes with HDR, I'm just trying to make it look like what I saw because my camera just technically fails to have the right dynamic
When
range.
you add objects to or remove objects from the picture. I'm going to argue all these. Everyone's going to be like, damn you, Chelsea. Okay, but
So a
just
third
by
of the audience
taking a
feels like
picture,
that's too much.
but just when you take a picture, aren't you removing almost everything from the picture? Case in point, Machu Picchu. When I went to take a picture, I would wait for about 30 people to walk by. Would it have been more realistic to just take the picture and whoever's there is there? Yes. That would have been more honest, but that's not what I saw. That's not what I felt I was seeing. I didn't go there and just think, that guy in the red shirt. I saw a bunch of views. It was really breathtaking. I didn't really think about the people around me. So to capture them would have been inauthentic to my experience. It would have been an inauthentic interpretation of what I was seeing.
Yeah, often what you see in your mind's eye, your brain filters stuff out naturally. but the camera doesn't do that for you. And things like all the people moving, you just didn't notice the thousands of people until you took a photo, and then you're like, oh my God, they just ruined my photo.
Also, as a portrait photographer, there's so many times when I get someone I know really well in front of the camera and I take a picture and I'm like, oh my God, they have a dead tooth. I never noticed that, and that's all I can see in this picture.
Yeah. Because when you're talking to somebody, you're not staring at their tooth. They're also not holding their mouth like this constantly.
Yeah.
But when you look at a still photo, you begin to explore it more closely. And so, yeah, by editing it, you're actually making it look more like when you see the person in real life.
Or when you take a picture of a landscape and the sky is this gorgeous color blue, and then your camera gets it and it just turns this blue sky white. Then what do? You're just a slave to your camera. You're like, well, it was blue and I liked it, but I can't change it. Like, I'm just going to argue it just to put the ideas out there. I definitely think everyone can think whatever you want. It's your artistic interpretation. Do whatever moves you. But I think it's worth thinking about. What's more important? What you felt in the moment, the mood you want to convey, what you actually saw versus what your camera captures. Like, you have to make these decisions.
Half the people felt like as long as it starts with a photo you took, it counts as photography. And I'm actually surprised it's only half, because that's definitely the way I feel. I feel like any sort of composition is photography. As long as you took the photo, I don't know, to me that's photography. Sometimes you take a photo knowing that you're going to edit it. You're actually planning for the edits.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. I will also say
Especially
it's nice that there are different viewpoints, because that means that there's different types of photos. So, you know, that variation is nice. I actually have some examples if you want to go back.
Oh, yeah. Oh, here.
So this is Arnold Newman. You should look him up. A very, very famous photographer. And he took this picture of Stravinsky, and he got a hold of the picture and he looked at it and he thought, this needs a crop. This isn't the picture that he took, but he went and he cropped it and he changed it. You could see he did a lot of burning to make that wall shadow more distinct. And this is the most famous picture of Stravinsky. Now, if he had only believed in, I don't know what focal length this was taken at, but if he didn't believe in cropping or burning, look at all of these highlights here in the piano. Completely took them out. He basically made the piano a silhouette.
Yeah.
Which it was not in the original. And why? To accentuate the shapes, to accentuate the geometry, and to lead your eye down to his face and his pose. It's brilliant. We love it.
From 1946, the same year that the soup Nazi was escaping to New York.
This is Avedon, and these are all of his dodging and burning notes. So he took this picture. He made notes of what he wanted to go back into the darkroom and do, kind of like I did on some of your pictures today. And then he edited for what he wanted to see, not exactly what the camera captured.
Oh.
And this, everyone's favorite. You know who this is, Tony? Ansel Adams.
Yeah.
This is one print on the left. This is the other print on the right. He completely turned the sky black because it better suited his composition. It better suited his vision. It better suited his mood. You can do whatever you want.
I'm glad you threw Adams in there, because that's the number one name that people bring up whenever you do Photoshopping. They're like, would Ansel Adams have done that? It's like, yeah, he edited a lot. He was heavy-handed.
Oh, I wouldn't say heavy. I know what you mean, but that, yeah.
Yeah.
But he was really incredibly talented in the darkroom. He did a lot of dodging and burning. And if you've been in the darkroom, you know that it's really difficult, and there's an art to it. I don't think it's something to be ashamed of. Looks good. Oh, and of course, one of our modern heroes, David LaChapelle. That's got to be photoshopped. I think it'd be dangerous to have sparks that close to your crotch.
David LaChapelle is actually really light on the editing.
So do you think that could be real? Because I don't actually know, but I just assume this was edited.
I would assume it's not edited. Just knowing David LaChapelle's work, he generally.
Is that safe?
I don't know what he did.
What's on her hair?
It looks like
Light
maybe there was a
painting?
little bit of light painting mixed into it, so she might have actually moved out of the way. I can't be sure.
We'd have to find that out.
But he does not ever plan to edit. That's just his style. He goes to outrageous lengths to not Photoshop. He could probably do it at 1/100th of the budget if he used a little Photoshop, but he just does everything in camera
we'll
pretty
have
much.
to talk to him.
That's a good idea.
I'll
David
get him on the
LaChapelle
show.
going.
Do you know that he's been to the restaurant that we like?
Which one?
The Bee and Thistle.
Oh, the Bee and Thistle.
He was there, and they didn't call us.
Sure.
So thanks a lot, guys.
Hey, Siobhan, do you have any questions or
forgive you for
comments
that?
for us?
Yeah.
I bet you do.
I bet you do. Soup? Are they all about the soup Nazi?
What's
No.
going on in the comments today? Are people having fun?
Yes, they are.
Oh, good.
Always.
We've got quite a few questions.
Look at that baby. Bye, baby.
Oh, yeah, families all over. Well, this relates to what you were just talking about. Who is your favorite photographer, dead or alive?
Well, oh, that's so hard because they're like the classics that I like Avedon, who I was just showing. And then there are people in my field that I really admire. Like I was just looking at Lindsay Adler's work, who is another female photographer slash teacher. And she's really talented. And then actually, there are a lot of people from our group, our readers group and stuff, and I really like their photography.
I really like Tigar's work.
Yeah.
I always like his photos, and Charles Hunter.
Joseph Childress, is that his name? Childress. I really like his work.
Yeah, if I had to pick a favorite photographer off the top of my head, it would probably be David LaChapelle. I
Yeah.
really like the massive amount of planning, and his kind of glam style really resonates with me.
Cool.
What else you got, Siobhan?
Let's see. Do you have any tips on infrared photography? Have you ever tried it?
I've never tried it.
Yeah, I've taken just a couple of snapshots, but no, I can't say that I have any tips for it. I want to try it with a modern mirrorless camera, because when we tried it, it was with a DSLR, and so you literally could not see through the viewfinder once you
Yeah.
put the infrared filter on the lens.
Oh yeah, you'd have to learn how to see again, kind of like when you start doing black and white photography.
Yeah. So sorry. No, I don't know. What else you got, Siobhan?
That was beautiful.
Is it better to set the camera to shoot black and white or to convert the color photo in post?
My camera at least, if you set the camera to shoot to black and white, it lets you see it in black and white, and then when you load it into your computer, it's color. All the color information is there.
Right, because you're shooting raw.
You're shooting raw.
So definitely
I
shoot
shoot
raw.
raw.
That's always a good idea. But
I
yeah,
like to shoot in black and white.
especially with a mirrorless camera, because with a mirrorless camera, you can see black and white in the viewfinder, and that just changed black and white photography for me. To be able to see it at the time
Yeah.
made it so much more concrete. I love that.
It's a good way to learn black and white photography too, because you learn how to see what works in black and white.
Yeah. So you can do that with a DSLR if you use live view. Usually it'll show you in black and white. But I'm a viewfinder guy, so I love it. That's
You're
my
a
favorite thing
viewfinder
about
guy.
mirrorless cameras.
What else, Siobhan? Tell me.
Is there any actual result of you adding stars and pics to people's pictures?
No. It's just our way of saying we really like it.
Yeah, it's just totally artificial points. It's like likes on Facebook. You can't convert that to currency or anything.
That'd be cool.
But
I
just
think
out of
you probably
curiosity,
can convert that to currency. I mean,
Likes?
you can probably get a job out of your amount of Twitter likes at this point.
That's true.
what were they hoping the result would be from a like or from a 5-star pick?
I think they just wanted to know if, like, people have asked what we do with pictures after the show's over and stuff, and I tell everyone we just delete them. But then someone was like, so what's the point of that thing you do?
I was just saying we like it.
Yeah.
What's the point of a compliment, guys? What's the point of living? Siobhan, tell me more.
Good question. Could the good people of the panel tell us how they dodged and burned in film days?
So you have this projector, and the light is coming down onto your paper, which is sensitive to light,
The enlarger.
the enlarger. And if you want to, well, there are these tools, and you can just like make your own. I would put like a piece of paper on a paper clip, which is really ghetto, but our photography teacher was like, do it. And you would just put it over the spot you didn't want to be as dark so that the light wasn't hitting it and exposing it, and you had to keep moving it. So there's a lot of skill, there's a lot of precision to it. In fact, I've looked at people's film portfolios, and like you can see where they did really poor dodging and burning. But yeah, it takes a lot of practice, and you can make your own shape. So if you want to do the whole horizon, you can cut out a piece of paper, and then you kind of just have to like move it while you're exposing your picture.
Yeah, it's literally a projector, and your piece of film becomes like a slide.
Yeah.
So it's just projecting this image down onto a photosensitive piece of paper.
Yeah.
And so by blocking the light, those parts become darker.
Right.
And if you want a part to be brighter, you can either literally shine some light in there or just let that stay exposed longer while you hide everything else.
But in Photoshop, the tools are actually based on the darkroom tools, the dodge and burn.
Yeah.
You can see it's like a
Because
little.
the names make no sense. You would think burning would make it brighter, but it
Yeah.
actually makes it darker because you're projecting through a negative.
Yeah, it's based on film, but
Yeah.
it's like basically a little stick with a circle on the end, and that's what you use in the darkroom.
Yeah.
People do all sorts of neat things, actually. So you can get really creative in the darkroom, and you can go really far with the edits.
So let's get through a few more pictures and we'll come back to Siobhan.
I have a question.
Yeah.
That we were talking about this in the comments, and I was saying that this Chelsea lens, that one, you said that's like your sharpest lens, right? 85 millimeters f1.2 or something, right?
Yeah, it's a Rokinon 85mm f1.4. It's pretty sharp. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's probably the sharpest. I don't really know how to compare everything, but why do you ask? Somebody asked that?
Yeah, someone wanted a Samyang, same thing. And
Oh,
I said,
yeah.
oh yeah, that's the Chelsea lens, and then we just started going back and forth.
Yeah, we need to at some point review those primes because we have a whole set of Rokinon primes that we use for different things all the time, and they're all great, and they're like it's pretty cheap for good sharp lenses. They're all manual, like f-stop, focus, everything, but they're good quality lenses. Thanks for jumping in, Justin. I
Justin, that was
upped the
nice.
contrast on this a little bit because it was just a little bit flat to begin with, but I think that's a great shot.
That's
just a,
like the
a little
lesson
bit of movement.
of the night. Make sure your photo's not flat. Add some contrast.
Yeah, especially
I
with black and white.
Love this picture.
Yeah, this is flat, but I think it totally works here.
Really, I'm gonna try it.
Oh, really? I was happy with it.
But you think I'm ever satisfied? Okay. Oh, look at the distortion.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
That is a cool shot. I like that a lot. I like the symmetry that they did. I'm giving that a pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 5 stars.
You can convert that
Guys,
later into currency.
It means we like it. What if what if
reflections.
every time we gave it 5 stars in a pic, we hung it in our house, and then we had this crazy wall just covered with pictures? Oh, Eric Hermanson. I really like him as a photographer as well.
I'm confident I'm mispronouncing his last name, but this is a beautiful shot.
Really?
I'm giving that one a pick.
Hermanson?
I don't know. Does anybody know how to pronounce his name?
Nobody.
Seems wrong.
He doesn't even know. I talked to him about
I
it.
don't.
I don't think there's any possible other way to pronounce
Yeah,
that name.
that's what I was thinking too.
I feel like it's Swedish or Danish
I mean, you
or
could
something.
throw an accent on it, but it's still Hermanson.
I think that when you
We need a call in line.
I think when you've said as many things wrong as we have, you just learn to not trust just anything. Good job, Eric.
It would have to be Herman's son, right? Because he's got
Herman's
two
son.
S's in there. Herman's son.
Son. That's probably right. Then you need an apostrophe. Because that's a possessive.
I actually want to bring out just a
I
little
like the
more
color.
contrast. Just
Is
a
this
tiny
Kyle
more
Wolf's
contrast in
picture?
the sky.
Oh yeah, I can see the watermark now. I like the color version, Kyle. Those are some beautiful colors. I seem to recall you saying that you had to put more blue back in, but you did a good job. You did it, baby. You started at the bottom, now you're here.
I just brought out a tiny more contrast in the sky, but that looks great. Where do you see? Oh, there it is. Yeah, nice shot, Kyle. Great shot. I'm gonna pick.
That was a tasteful watermark as well.
Yeah, I didn't even notice it.
What's happening here?
I don't know.
What?
It's a
What's wrong?
horseshoe.
Are you okay? Oh, it's a horseshoe. Okay.
I know that not because I pieced it together, but because it says that
horseshoe?
in the title. Yeah.
Oh, this is from our 11-year-old viewer, Rainbow.
Ah,
Oh.
hey, Rainbow. Well,
Well, first of all, they got really good focus because the depth of field is very shallow. So good job with that.
yeah, and I do like the contrast in it. It is a photo to ponder. It feels a little bit abstract to me, which I like.
Yeah, I like that we had to stop and talk about it. Good job, Rainbow. This is beautiful.
Yeah, this is a
This
great
looks
portrait.
familiar to me. Looks like you got the whites in there. See in the sky. You've got some blacks. Just
Is
a
it-
hint.
Is it just me, or is it weird that her legs are just like black?
You want to bring them out?
I I feel it feels weird that the skin tone of her legs is so mismatched with the skin tone of her face. Even the skin tone of her hand seems very dark. So one of the nice things about starting with the color picture is you could selectively adjust the red tones.
Yeah.
And that would make it easier to adjust the skin tones.
Still a beautiful picture.
Yeah, I think it's so beautiful that most people probably wouldn't notice it, but I probably would try to bring up to match the skin tones of her legs and hands to her face better.
Whoa, what are you?
It's kind of
Is
like
this a threat?
badass still life. We got a butterfly knife, which was like the #1 weapon in 80s karate movies.
If you were a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah. You don't really see those too much nowadays. But yeah, you'd flip it around unnecessarily a lot of times.
I wanted one of those for my knife collection, but it wasn't allowed in the Mercado household.
They're totally illegal in most states, I think.
Yeah, that's what my parents said. I had a knife collection as a small girl, and I managed to obtain a switchblade, and then I wanted a butterfly knife, and that's where they drew the line. They're like, "You're gonna chop your fingers off." I was like, "Probably. Isn't that what life's about?" So yeah, that appeals to me. Let me go back. I'm gonna give it 5 stars.
Okay.
For my childhood dreams. All right, let's add some contrast and stuff.
Yeah, it's just a little flat. I think it's a great shot.
Let's
We
make
just need
this
a little more contrast in it.
crazy. Dang.
So adjusting the blacks down will make the blacks blacker, and adjusting the whites up will make the whites whiter, and that's a good way to adjust the contrast. Using the contrast slider will take the middle of the histogram and just spread the whole thing out. So it's kind of 3 different ways to adjust the contrast, and a lot of people start at the top of the Lightroom sliders and work their way down, but I'll usually start with the white and black sliders and then adjust the contrast if the histogram is kind of peaking in the middle. Yeah, and then the selective dodging and burning. Again, Ansel Adams would do this, so
Yeah,
it's
he
okay.
would. I was just talking to him, and he was like,
So
I
look
would
what
do
Chelsea's
that.
doing here. There's this ridge line, and it didn't have a lot of contrast, and therefore it didn't have a lot of visual weight, but it's an important part of the subject. It's the difference between the brightness on the right and the shadows on the left that will define the shape of the mountain visually. She's accentuating that just to make the shape more obvious. And I think if we look in the before and after, in the before shot, you really don't even see the ridge line. You just wouldn't notice it.
no, and that's an important leading line.
Yeah, and so
Gotta bring that
just
out.
by a little dodging and burning, you can say it just made a huge difference. The extra contrast also made me notice for the first time this cool shape of the shadow of the cloud, which, because it was so flat before, I just didn't notice it. So great shot, and with a little editing, I felt like it really came to life.
We saw this one,
Yeah,
or a similar one.
Rob, that's a cool concert shot.
Yeah,
I usually like concert photos in black and white because there are often so many crazy colors coming from the different lights, but I think this one works really well.
yeah. Maybe a little bit too much sharpening. You're seeing some crazy things happening.
Yeah,
But
there
still,
are
I
some
like the
strange effects
pose
in
and I
there.
like the mood and
Yeah, great
It's cool.
composition.
whoa. I
Yes,
like this focal point, but this is flat, flat, flat. Look at these whites. They're gray.
this is a good example because his whites and blacks are pretty well defined, but it's the midtones that need more contrast.
Yeah, wait, maybe we can.
So the whole picture, except for the sky, exists in these midtones, and there's just no contrast in there.
Yeah, how do we even?
Yeah, so this is the time when you probably want to just crank up the contrast slider, because you actually want to spread out the midtones, and that's what
All
the
right,
contrast
let's
slider
try
is going
that.
to
Let
do.
me undo all this.
Yeah. Yeah, if you get really good, you want to start adjusting that tone curve. So you adjusted that, and then maybe adjust the contrast, the exposure up. Let me drive for a sec.
Yeah, you drive. You seem to
Uh,
have a vision.
So yeah, I'm going to start by cranking the contrast slider up, and then you can see it spread out those midtones. But now everything feels a little dark. So now I'm going to adjust the exposure slider up until everything feels a little bit better. We're losing some of the highlights. So for that, to remedy that, I'll bring the highlights down a little bit. And maybe I'll bring the shadows up a little bit. So just trying to add some contrast in here.
Look, I'm going to go for the brush.
Yeah, so you can do it selectively too, but even just on a general basis, you can see those few edits added a whole lot of pop to it without losing any of that detail.
And then you can go in. Oh, we are just editing our pants off today.
So yeah, I always start big, and I try to make adjustments to the entire photo and get it as close as possible. And then, yeah, with the adjustment brush, don't feel like, sometimes you'll make adjustments that will cause one part of the picture to be blown out or lost in shadows, and you get the whole picture as good as possible, and let you can lose some parts of it, because you can always go back with the adjustment brush and selectively fix those parts of the picture.
Okay. I think they understood what we were going for. Wait, go back. Let's look at the before and after. I love before and afters.
Yeah, huge difference, right? So flat before, so much contrast after.
I like this is interesting.
Yeah, this is a creative portrait, and again, it just feels a little flat. Look at that histogram. You can see there's no white points in it. But it's a dramatic photo, and I think the contrast should be dramatic too. The post-processing should be dramatic. It should match that mood.
This is like the focal point here. Bring out that eyeball.
Making the eye pop a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, Siobhan, we're going to start our rapid fire wrap up pretty soon. Do you have any other questions or comments for us?
Of course I do. I don't know if any of them are interesting, but I've written them down.
Okay.
Tell us.
What is the difference between adding contrast using the sliders compared to using curves?
Oh, curves just provides, what they're talking about here are these curves here. And so if I adjust the contrast, oh, I thought maybe it would actually visually show it. Oh, yeah, I guess it does, doesn't it? No. Well, they're two different tools, and the tone curve is more precise. So you can do some crazy things with the tone curves to kind of turn things upside down. This maps to the histogram. So darks and shadows are over here on the left, and then whites and highlights are over here on the right, and everything in the middle here is the midtones. And you can see here, I've made the midtones almost completely flat with this weird S-curve that I put on it. And I put all the contrast in the highlights and the shadows. And if you look at the before and after, it's not that I made it better, but just kind of demonstrating what it does. And so if I wanted, I could remove all the contrast from the shadows, and you would see they kind of disappear. And now we have all the contrast.
Floating teeth.
Basically, this is mapping the brightest parts of the picture, the original picture, to the brightest parts of the output picture. So the tone curve here, if I do this, then something that was middle gray here is now going to be a deep shadow. And if I drag it all the way down, you can see middle gray now becomes a black. So that's the way the tone curve works. What contrast does is, let me just reset that. What contrast does is it takes this middle part here and spreads it out towards the highlights and towards the shadows. So if I crank it down, you can see everything moves towards the middle. And if I crank it to the right, everything moves towards the outside.
That was
Got anything else,
really
Siobhan?
thorough. Anything else?
Yeah, sure. Are you guys fans of Game of Thrones? If so, who's your favorite character?
Dun, 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 dun. Daenerys, of course.
Oh, man. I do like Daenerys. I have to say, I really appreciate the loyalty of her sidekick. You know, I don't know
Grey
anybody's
Worm?
name.
No,
Oh,
the one that comes back for her.
Yeah, the
Fights
guy
to
who's just
win
an
her.
awesome warrior and who seems to have some sort of the thing from Fantastic Four disease that's going to turn him into like a rock person. I don't know the technical name of it.
I
Wow.
don't think there is a technical name for it.
I also like Littlefinger just because I'm into the whole salt and pepper guy kind of thing. I mean, he's like a really scummy
He's literally
character,
pimping.
but he's a hottie. How about you, Siobhan? Who's your fave?
Well, Jon Snow for reasons, and
It's pronounced Snuh.
Snuh.
Nah. Oh, and I loved his girlfriend. What's the name of Peter Dinklage's character? Because definitely him.
Tyrion.
Yeah.
Lannister.
Korean land. Yeah.
It's funny because you can love the show and not know the characters' names because there are so many and their names are crazy and they have multiple names.
We forgot the little girl who started out with the needle, you know? I love her character.
What is her name?
They're all so good.
They're all
Yeah.
good. We
I
love
know,
that
I know.
show. Obviously, we could just talk about it forever.
Even great bad guys in it.
Arya,
Justin has never seen
Arya Stark.
Game of Thrones.
Now he knows
I
everything.
No, it's so sad. My wife got into the first season a little bit, but I got to get into it.
Come on,
Yeah, it
Justin.
can be hard to get into.
What else, Siobhan? Jason's fired.
Okay. Would you choose the Fuji X-T1 or the Samsung NX1?
Probably Fuji.
Oh, come on. You're right.
Yeah, I guess if I had to pick, it would be the NX1, but I don't know.
Really?
I wouldn't.
Why?
I just wouldn't pick either one of them, probably.
Okay, what else?
I mean, it depends what you're doing, but I'd probably go a different direction for anything. What else you got, Siobhan?
Oh, good luck in the forums,
Okay.
Northrup. See you in the forums.
Let's help this guy. He would like to know how he should set up the autofocus on his D5300 for an air show this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, we got this.
Back button autofocus.
Yeah, back button autofocus.
Whoa, what?
Back button autofocus.
So go to sdp.io/tutorials. And here we have a tutorial for the D5300. And in that tutorial, I will show you exactly how to configure back button focus. It's not supposed to load it. That's clearly a mistake. Click the name and it will go there.
Whoa, look at old Tony with a mustachio.
Yeah, that's funny. Old studio too. Set up back button focus because you're going to be switching to taking pictures of airplanes on the ground and flying airplanes. Keep it in continuous focus. The D5300 will keep up just fine. It's locked into continuous focus. I would generally keep it on a single focusing point.
Focusing point, yeah.
However, if the planes are far enough away and you're having a hard time keeping that single autofocus point on the airplane, then switch to all autofocus points. Especially when you have the sky as the background, that should work great. But you'll probably want to switch back to a single autofocus point.
Do we ever tell
shooting on the
people
ground.
about our website on this ever? Northrup.photo?
Yeah, do people know? You can go to sdp.io/tutorials and
Look, which camera type, which lens should I buy, which flash, all these questions, you go here and we answer them like crazy and for free. We have all of the information organized.
yeah, massive amounts of all our reviews are nice and organized here, and there's a written content that nobody's ever read before.
We
I don't know why
have
we never promote
an entire
Northrup.photo.
store. We have a whole, guys.
You can buy stuff, but there's also just a ton of
we
free
have a
stuff
ton
on there.
of
Look
free
at all
stuff.
this.
Look at Tony in the corner. Guys,
There's just like 100 hours of free training here.
this is a billion stuff.
There's also a Tony and Chelsea
Look at
live
us.
link
We
there
look
for
like
information about the live
televangelists
show.
up here. All right, you have any other questions? Of course she does.
Sorry. I get lost in the chat and then I come back here. I hate technical questions.
Yeah, they're mostly at Northrup.photo. If you have a technical question, if we know the answer, it's there.
Yes, please. Tony, how did you go from being a programmer to being in photography?
There was a massive amount of overlap. There was that overlap almost the entire time. So I was a programmer for a long time and was just taking pictures in after hours when I wasn't programming and stuff.
Yeah.
So most people start photography that way. They don't like just stop everything else they're doing. I was doing both things for a long time and making money from my photography for a long time too, while still programming, because I couldn't pay all the bills with photography. But then as soon as I could get out of programming, I did. I still love computers and programming and stuff, but whatever. I guess that's the question. They're just completely unrelated. Let's start taking a look at a few more pictures, and we'll wrap up with a few more questions at the end. I love this picture. We've been looking at it for a while, and it's just the reflection in the glass. In her sunglasses.
And her smile, it's so genuine, and the light is so warm, it matches the mood. It's
Yeah,
excellent. Let's give it 5 stars.
Yeah, the storytelling here is fantastic. I don't know how they even got the picture. I don't know if the camera is just positioned between her sunglasses or if it's a comp.
Oh, look, she's like tied up.
Yeah, well, that's the storytelling, and I actually love the glee in the kidnapper's face. Like,
What a little
she's so
evil
happy
woman.
about this
Evil little lady.
tragic thing. Great shot.
You want to go home. That's the story there. The
Yeah,
dog
so-
that didn't want to go home.
Again, what I would do here is,
I was going to crop, and that's usually your job.
oh, you're right. That's a good place to start, is with the composition. Yeah, you want to try to balance the two subjects here, but look at this histogram. You can see it's very dark heavy, and all the contrast is just in this half of the histogram, which is why it kind of looks gray here. So we're going to raise the exposure until the histogram is more in the middle here. And then we can adjust the contrast up to bring in some more detail. But now you can see we have a bunch of highlights blown out. So we will repair that now that we've done that by pulling the highlights back down.
Tony, who sings that song?
And now that some of the whites have been lost, I can just pull it back down.
Look at this photograph. Every time I do, it makes me laugh.
What? I mean, I
You ever heard that song?
I'm guessing Train or Nickelback.
It sounds like Nickelback.
I think it's Nickelback.
Oh, that's Siobhan's favorite band.
Justin on
You
the
take
Nickelback
that back.
trivia.
You take that back right now.
Yeah, you told me that. Show everybody your Nickelback tattoo.
I'm gonna sue.
Oh, here it is. Every time no, stop it. If we play it for too long, we have to pay. We have to pay for it. We don't want to fund them. We don't want to perpetuate that.
Yeah, please save yourself and do not look up Nickelback.
Every time I do, it makes me laugh. All right, are we going to the rapid fire zone?
Yeah, we're into
Wow,
rapid
look
fire.
at this weathered, beautiful man.
Yeah, this is a great shot. Great amounts of contrast. I don't feel like it needs any editing.
No, I'm doing more. That's what I'm doing today. Dang, this guy's. He's got a face.
Yeah.
5 stars on a pick.
He seemed like he'd help you change your tire and kill a rattlesnake for you. He's like a good guy, but a man's man.
He'd suck venom.
Yeah,
Like
if he
venom
had
out?
to.
Then he'd
If you were a dude, he'd suck
Punch
the
a
venom
bear.
out of you and then he'd punch you.
Yeah, he'd roundhouse a bear and the bear would run away and whimper.
Yeah.
He's a legend.
Yeah, but then he'd bring it to a vet.
Yeah, he's a gentleman. What are we doing here? At the baggage department.
Yeah, it feels a little off balance. I wish it were shifted more.
I'm just doing this
to
to
the
every
right.
picture now.
Okay, Chelsea, this is rapid fire.
Oh.
We got to try to get through this because it's quarter
Oh
after
my
6
God,
already.
but this is the most
This is
awesome
fantastic.
picture.
Yeah,
5 star on a
where
pick.
on earth is this? This is beautiful.
Oh crap. This person's my idol.
Perfect symmetry. I would go ahead and, I know it will offend some of you, I would clone out these branches along the right and left side. They're just barely intruding into the frame.
Dang.
Otherwise, it's a stellar
All
shot.
right.
Just a beautiful location.
Twitter me so we can be friends, okay? That's all I'm saying. Trees. Those trees scare me. Interesting. I like this. Good job. I'm rapid firing now.
Oh, that's a beautiful shot.
Great.
I love the
Great.
focus on the eye. Look at that shell up the field. You can see which part of it is in focus here, and it's
Just
such
a
a
little
sliver.
whoop, just a sliver.
Beautiful mood, beautiful
saw
shot.
this, we
This
liked
guy's
it.
portfolio.
Very
Just
good.
needs a focal point. If there was a silhouette of a person at the end there,
With an axe.
don't often see bird photography in black and white, but I like it.
I like this. I think the shadows need to go down, but I love it.
Yeah, I felt like it contributed to the mood. I
Great
was okay
light.
with that.
How can you go wrong?
Yeah, puppies.
My favorite story of the night. Oh man, I love Oreos.
I like that a lot.
Cool.
A little bit of, yeah.
Spooky.
Oh, wait, this is the reflection. That's
Yeah.
actually really cool.
No, yeah, that's cool.
I thought it was a cheesy comp, but
Loving
it wasn't.
that kid. Oh wow, biking in the snow. That's really beautiful.
Yeah, that is. More bikes.
Whoa, I like how the
that
tree
blur.
is moving like they're like gonna blow it out of the way when they drive by so fast. Like
It's a cool
cartoon.
shot.
Just bring up the whites.
Check those white points, yeah.
Nice.
Some
I'd
street
like to see
photography.
what
Check the
she's
whites
looking at.
again.
Oh, we're talking at the same time? Cool. Bus stop. Bring up those whites. Love the
That's a great
bubble
shot.
baby. I love the moving clouds.
Long exposures.
I'd bring up the whites. Way to get close on that car. This line looks like he's seen some shit. Look at his eyes. He's like, oh my God.
Yeah, he actually hasn't. Super bored.
Interesting.
Sensor dust. Especially got to clean up that sensor.
I like this guy.
Yeah,
I bet
I
he's
like
a
him
fly
too.
fisherman. And I always like fly fishermen.
I think you're
5
right.
stars for fly fishermen. They're the nicest people.
Yeah, make that white another cool example.
Cool-
We've seen a lot of
cool
street
crop.
photography.
Bring up those whites. This is the saddest story. Eeyore in real life.
Because he's a sad donkey.
Yeah. This is in Paris.
I actually think the whites are too bright here. I'd recover those highlights. We can't in the... Oh, okay. You actually did it perfectly.
Oh, bring up those whites. I got it. I know it's supposed to be rapid fire, but come on, guys.
Yeah, check that histogram. So important.
Oh my gosh, this is majestic.
Watch the fringing.
That just, wow, there's a story. Cool. Like it.
Not actually black and white.
Wow.
Is
Wait,
that moon fake?
No, it's real. I bet that I don't know. Let's just keep
It might be
going.
real.
Oh, that
I
was-
like that abstract
I
bridge
like
shot.
that.
Yeah, that's cool.
I like this picture a lot,
Just
but
needs
you want her,
contrast.
you want her skin
So there they
tones
have plenty of whites, but yeah, we need areas of contrast in the subject.
exposed for her
So, yeah.
face.
So she adjusted the exposure up until the midtones are all in the subject, and then you could increase the contrast and recover the highlights. Some type of cormorant.
We love cormorants.
Huh,
Really nice.
beautiful. I like HDR converted black and white. I think that can
It's
often work.
interesting.
Yeah. Ah,
Oh,
this
wow.
is one of the best shots of the night. I think I love that.
You think you like it?
I
We
saw
already
it.
talked about that.
That
Wow.
I really like that shot.
Wow.
They went really extreme with the contrast.
Wow.
Makes me think of Batman. I would just straighten it out because it's not quite perfectly symmetrical.
It made me
Rotate it
think
a
of
little bit.
Batman.
No, it made me think of Batman.
No, me. I like that pony.
Ah, I like that a lot. Sepia is not black and white. I was talking about the next guitar picture, but
Let's get some details. Uh-oh. My radio cut out.
my eye doesn't rest anywhere.
Ooh.
We need something inside that
Ooh.
tunnel because that's what my eye explored, and there was no.
Is that a
Payoff.
labradoodle? No.
Yeah.
Oh, what a lovely picture. 5 stars.
I
That's
feel like
interesting.
there's more of a story here. Maybe it's just street photography. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why it's so washed out. It felt deliberate to me, but I'm not getting it. So
Dance. Good.
some good motion in there. It's a nice portrait.
Wow, nice light.
Yeah, looks like they brought a beauty dish to the bridge. I like that. That turned out really nice.
Cool baby. Wow, that's lovely.
That is really pretty.
I like that.
High f-stop number gives you those starbursts. I like this too. I like it. It's a busy shot, but the lines and the rule of thirds, and I like that shot a lot. Oh,
Love that.
that
a
is a
story.
great shot. I love the way she's holding her
Oh my
hand.
gosh, this is lovely.
Yeah,
Let's
another
bring
great
up the
shot.
contra-
Wow. Seeing a lot of just great shots that we have to rapidly flip past, unfortunately, but
I'm gonna give that 5 stars. I love that a lot. Cool.
I like the interaction between those
Yeah,
two.
me too.
This didn't catch my eye.
We saw that. Oh my gosh, how could
Oh,
you not like
hedgehog.
it?
He's cute. Dogs.
I love dogs. They know our weakness. What is this story? The
I
old jump and grab your legs. Oh, look at that shadow. Very cool.
Yeah, that's really a fascinating shot to me. That feels like it's almost like a Charles Hunter shot.
Interesting.
I like that. That's
Good close up.
yeah.
That's pretty. Wow, I like this picture a lot. The light.
Yeah.
That leading line
I actually
from the
wish
light. And then,
she were a little bit further back, just in front of that really bright light, but
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
ooh, a rolly. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's so blown out, but maybe because it makes it feel almost godly.
Just put a
It's at
little
the
of the
summit
blacks
of a
back
mountain.
in. Oh my gosh, we saw a picture from that person already. Come on, guys. We're trying to look at all your pictures.
That's cute.
Mean cat. I have a picture of Siobhan kind of like that. Of you in a circle. We'll have to put it up with her next to Mean Cat. That's the Eiffel
Big
Tower.
Tom. I like that little spot of light. That was a
Yeah.
clever idea. I
Very
like that. Rolls? Is that right?
I thought
It's a
Rolls
car
had
show
the
shot,
wings. That's beautiful. Nice and soft.
but oh, that's
That's
a
a
really
nice
sweet shot with
story,
the hand
yeah.
holding.
Fisherman. I would just bring up the whites in this one too.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's got plenty of whites.
Oh, that's a
that's
sweet
a really cute moment.
That's another nice moment. I'd bring up
Check
their
those
skin
whites.
tones a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice. I like the long exposure.
Yeah. Beautiful long
Again,
exposure
are
that
there
works really
whites?
well. Great mood.
Get those whites in there.
Yeah. Check that histogram.
That really is the Eiffel Tower. I like that, the composition. Again,
Yeah.
expose.
Look at that histogram. You
Look at her
can't
face.
just look at your monitor because your eyes will trick you. Your monitor can be just wrong. You just have to look at the histogram.
Look.
Yeah. Way better.
Oh, good shot. I bet again.
Yeah. Good job with the posing. I know they were going for a low-key kind of shot, but I feel like we lost most of the detail in the shadows. It depends how it's being presented, but I just don't know what that
Me either.
is.
We saw this
that one.
Interesting light. We saw
Okay,
that
saw
one.
that one.
I think the rapid fire thing's not going to work. People are submitting the same thing over and over again. And that guy's cute. Spot color.
Spot color gets skipped.
That's
Maybe
it.
actually recover the highlights. Okay, we did it. Siobhan, before we wrap up, you have any other questions or comments for us?
Well, I want to say that the few pictures I rejected, since people always ask why their pictures don't go through, is if you submitted a sepia tone or something that was not black and white, I rejected it. That's about it.
That's a good call.
Soup Nazi.
Damn.
So we got through everyone's photos. If you submitted a black and white photo, we got through it. We learned some things.
As long as you submitted in like the first couple of minutes of the show, because I didn't re-import. I'd be afraid to re-import and see what else could be in there.
Oh, I would be afraid too. Let's not do that.
Yeah, and thank you to our sponsor, Squarespace. Look at all these other photos. I wish we could get through everybody's photos. People get their feelings hurt because we can't get through everything, but we went an hour and a half today. It's just, there's just no way.
But this one's so good.
Yeah, that is a great shot. Did you bring a lion into the studio? How exactly do you do that? Oh, I love that
Look at this
building
one.
shot there. What? Oh,
We're both fighting.
wow. I don't know what that is, but that's a cool shot.
Oh my gosh, I think this is Nickelback. No. All right. I think we're out. Hour and a half.
Okay, thanks. We're here every Thursday at 5 o'clock
Tell
Eastern
your
time.
friends.
Subscribe to be sure to see our latest videos. And if you want your pictures to look awesome on the web, get a portfolio at Squarespace. It's less than $10 a month, and you don't have to be nerdy at all. But if you're a nerd, you can go in and customize your CSS and HTML because you know what that stuff means and you know how to do it. Go to squarespace.com/Tony. And if you decide to sign up after your 14-day free trial, use the coupon code PhotoNews.
That lets them know you heard about it from us.
Yeah.
Supports the show.
And thank you so much. We'll see you
Support the
next week
show.
where we're reviewing street photography based on your request. You voted for that.
I'm frazzled.
See you, peeps.
Bye. Thank you.
Here's Tigar.
That is all.